At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. November is Men's Health Awareness Month, so Talkspace wants guys to know that being prepared for life's biggest challenges and opportunities means prioritizing mental health, too. Talkspace can help you go beyond fine-tuned workouts, supplements, and productivity hacks. Talkspace can help you fine-tune your inner life so you can succeed in being the best version of yourself in any situation. And with Talkspace, you can get therapy from anywhere and on your time. You can even text your therapist between sessions. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace takes most insurance, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Men's Health Awareness Month is the perfect time to reach out to Talkspace. Now, get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com and save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com. That's Talkspace.com, promo code SPACE80.
Yeah, what's happening? We about to bring that action. Gotta hold it down for my Seattle Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. We going beneath the waves. Get it hype, step onto the ice. Ready for some action, release the Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
What's up, everyone, and welcome in to the Beneath the Waves podcast, your weekly recap of all things Seattle hockey and beyond. I'm Matt.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Derek. And we are still without a key fourth of our group here at BTW. Our very own Heather continues to crush it in her coverage of the Seattle Torrent. Since our last episode, she has spun up two more banging articles. One about the TakeOver Tour games the Torrent are going to be playing this year. So to our Canadian and non-Seattle-based fans, go check out that article to see where you may be able to catch a game. The other article is the first Torrent article on the Hockey News Women's to be discussing the Torrent actually playing hockey together as a team. This article was about the Torrent's training camp thus far and previews what the season may look like through a lens of team identity. Definitely go check her articles out. The links will be in our show notes, and stay tuned because Heather will be dropping PWHL content right here in your BTW SEA feeds. You can also follow her at Heather Nicole with no E or at the Hockey News W to stay tuned for more Torrent reporting.
Smooth as butter, like always. Great work, Derek. For us here, the BTW boys, it is episode 45. 45 episodes. Absolutely crazy. On today's episode, we're going to catch up on the last week of games. We'll check in on all the latest Kraken developments and news, and we will look at the week ahead. Before we get into our usual vibes and discuss those games that we had in this last week, it is time to money puck around and find out. Alex, what does the Wheel of Death say for us this week?
Well, this week, after the Kraken have blown the absolute doors off the NHL this season, because nobody expected them to be where they're at. I sure as hell did not. Go check my prediction at the start of the season. Didn't see this coming. But with the record that they currently have, which we'll get into it a little bit later, the Kraken have a 59.5% chance to make the Stanley Cup playoffs this season. It's November, folks. Last season, I'm pretty sure we were down at like 10%. And like we've stayed there for pretty much the rest of the season. Like we're talking above 50% now. Like we've surpassed like just passing in Canadian schools. Like we're on our way to like a C. Like we're getting there. And remember, this team doesn't really know how to score. This team knows how to defend. We're still working on the scoring. Could you imagine if we figured out the scoring component to this? Like we'd be off to the races. I don't know about you. I'm excited. They've completely blown my expectations as to like how they're playing this season. So at 59.5% on November 17th, I can't complain about this whatsoever. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, when I look at the teams that are below us on the table, it certainly boosts my confidence as well. We have the likes of playoff contenders last year in just quick scanning Ottawa and Tampa, Edmonton, back-to-back runner-up in the final. That seems like a kind of big thing. One like bit of salt that I'm rubbing in some coworkers' wounds above that. Montreal, that's another big one. So we're looking pretty. The part of the table I like as well is that the current point projection is 93.4 points. So I think we were all in the 80s when we predicted. So shattering our expectations
Yeah.
there is great. Who's that Gavin McKenna kid? I don't even care at this point. The only name I'm concerned about is Lord Stanley.
Hell yeah, Matt. Let's go.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
no McKenna for us this year. But you said it. We're projected by Money Puck to be at 93.4 points. I actually, I did a little bit of digging. I went back in time to our time capsule before this year, and I snagged y'all's point prediction totals here. So we have Alex at 81. Okay. We have Matt at 88, and we have me at 96. So 93.4. I don't know if you're any good at math, but yep, I'm the closest. So rubbing it in
Maybe
your guys'
Price
faces.
is Right rules, maybe.
I don't think so. And anyway, Matt and I were the only two Kraken fans in existence who had the bold prediction of the Kraken making the playoffs this year. And it's starting to look like they might, okay? It actually is. But yeah, you can go listen to episode 39 if you don't believe me. My take back then is the same as it is now. In sports, you can get wild results. The team we have, they all have mid to high ceilings, and mid to low floors. That's what I said back then. So any given night, you can see any of our guys score and any of them contribute. Lane Lambert also seems to have succeeded with a defensive structure that is stumping most of the league, and me as well. I don't understand it. I wish I understood it. I genuinely don't. So that's cool. I mean, it's probably good that I don't understand it because if I could, then probably the whole league would. So, um,
This is
but
why
the
you don't get
crack
paid the big bucks.
exactly. That's why I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, the Kraken. The Kraken have the 13th highest playoff odds with this number. Anaheim, Vegas, LA, and Edmonton, as Matt was just mentioning, they're still all scary teams that we do need to worry about. But I mean, like, think about how we've dispatched the Jets twice now. It feels like this year luck is on our side and that we are a solid team right now. All starting, with that great defense and good goaltending across the board. So
I will say though, like this team is so confusing to me. Like, and the reason I say that is because you look at this, you look at the roster and you look at it to compare to last season. Yeah, we moved a couple players off, but like realistically speaking, this is almost the most identical roster to last year. Like, sure, we got rid of Berkey. Who else we get rid of? Like, we only got rid of a couple players, I think.
Berkey,
Yeah,
Bjorky, Gord,
Gord.
Turbo.
But we got rid of those guys like halfway through the season. You know what I mean? Like we got rid of them in
well,
March.
yeah, but we're only talking about the start right now. So if
I
you
know,
want
but
to,
still, but like you
yeah,
look at this team and
Will
like,
Borgen. Remember that guy? That name just
yeah,
popped into my head.
yeah. Who do we get
yeah,
for him? Oh yeah, Capo Caco. Yeah, Bubble Boy. No, I'm kidding. But no, like when I look at this team like as a roster on paper, like, and I see what they're doing, it doesn't make sense to me because I didn't expect this team to do what they're doing. Like Lambert has done a great job and molded this team defensively, as Derek said. And I have no complaints about it because we're winning games. Like it's not always the most exciting hockey, but if we put 2 points, we put 2 points on the board at the end of the night, I can't complain. Even if we're putting a point up, losing an overtime or shootout, hey, it's a point. If we finish the season with like 15 overtime losses and we somehow like win like 40 games, I am not going to complain.
Oh, absolutely not. I'd be stoked. The one thing I'll say about Lane Lambert too, I tweeted this out this week. My benchmark to which I have evaluated all of our coaches so far falls into two categories, and I would say that Lane Lambert is doing exemplary in both these categories. Category number one, he ties a very crispy tie. He rocks the tie clip, which keeps it like extra clean. So he's crushing it there. His tie game is great. Second, in those F1 helmet videos, he's cursing like a sailor, and I love those vibes too. He's not angry cursing, it's just like conversational swearing, which I am all for, and how
Yeah.
it's just like little voids of sound throughout the course of the video. So, Lane Lambert, you're crushing things. I'm digging it right now. Fellow Saskatchewanian, Lane Lambert.
But like that's like the best way to drop like a good like a great fuck bomb. Like if you're doing it in a
Oh.
nice way, like it's just so crisp.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
coach teenagers, so I'm not allowed to do that.
oh, you just say like the frig or freaking or
Heck darn it, kids. All right,
doing a great job.
let's get into the week that we had at the current standing right now, as we said, November 17th, as we're recording this. The Kraken have a record of 9-4-5 on the season. This week, or this last week rather, we had three games. First was a 2-1 overtime loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The second was a 5-3 win over the Jets. And the third was a 4-1 win over the Sharks. So solid week. I wish I was the person who went out and predicted that we'd go 2-0-1 in those games last week. Oh, wait, I was. That is the prediction I dropped at the end of last week's episode. So we've already kind of broadly touched on it. Things are feeling pretty good in Krakenland. How are we feeling in a general sense about the games last week before we get into specifics?
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be going our way on the ice. And like obviously it's not going our way in terms of what we're about to talk about, like with the injuries and stuff. But I feel like we've with like throughout all these games included, I feel like we've just bought like so much time without that offensive firepower, like Alex was talking about. Like we've bought so much time. We're not only like treading water without all that offensive firepower, we're like taking the league by storm without all that offensive firepower that Jared McCann would bring back. Um, so like Alex has been talking about this in our group chat and stuff, but like it's starting to get to the point where like you could potentially start thinking of additions via trade, like come January or so, assuming we stay like reasonably good in the standings. Like the the Pacific is an absolute wild west, so there's a lot to be said there. Like anything can happen at this point. The Kraken could be like I think Matt said before. We could be like, or no, Alex said it. We could be like seventh. It like in like two games. It's pretty great. Or we could be like first in a game. It's pretty crazy. Um, but overall, like the vibes, the team feels like very fragile to me, and I don't mean no pun intended with the injuries, but like they I feel like it could go downhill at any moment just due to like the composition of the roster. Um, and like I said, like the mid to high ceilings and the mid to low floors, once a few people are off, the structure kind of falls apart. We lose that like depth and cohesion. We kind of have to have that. We don't really have those like $15 million guys who can pick up slack like no matter what. So we need the team to like collectively stay bought in, cohesive, and locked in so that we don't lose our structure.
So there's not a lot of $50 million guys in the NHL, but there's a couple $10 million guys and such. But regardless on that, I really do echo what Derek's saying. Like this team has exceeded our expectations. They're playing great hockey, but at the same time, they're skating on very thin ice. And I feel like the wheels can just completely fall off the track like at any given moment. But my biggest concern still is the scoring. This team can really like defend well, but like when it comes to scoring, it's a little bit worrisome because like there's games that like we can see them put up like 4 or 5 goals like we saw them play against the Jets and the Sharks, but then there's games that we just put an absolute stinker up and we maybe score a goal, maybe, but like we're getting like 16 shots on it and it's concerning. So the way that we're kind of playing, I wonder if we are going to start circling the trade block. How it's the time of the year around American Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving for everybody in the US, where trade discussions start heating up again. And one of the guys that I've been kind of looking at, and I kind of mentioned it to you guys, is Jordan Kyrou from the St. Louis Blues. I know that they talked about him during the offseason, but apparently the trade value was a first round pick, which would have been O'Brien So I'm glad that didn't happen. But, depending as to where you are this season, would you consider, offloading a first round pick for Jordan Kyrou? Guy makes, 8.125 million. He's not having the best season with the St. Louis Blues, but the Blues aren't doing that well. He's been a healthy scratch. New place kind of, can do a lot of things. Look at Capo Caco when he was healthy, absolutely insane. So I start to wonder if this team is going to start looking at, on the trade front to see if they can like bolster their lineup and get a little bit more offensive firepower. But right now, if they keep playing the hockey that they're playing, I think that we're in a very comfortable and, safe spot moving forward. But they definitely need to keep that defending going, and then they definitely need the goaltending that they've had to keep producing like they have been.
One thing I'll say on the trade point that makes it maybe a little more feasible this year is because of that Tampa deal. We have 2 first-round picks this year in the draft.
Good point.
Really good point.
Thank
That is
you.
good.
I make them like once in a blue moon, so I'll take it.
I just wanted to quickly say for you Will Borgen naysayers, okay, he's providing some great defense for the Rangers this year through 18 games, and he actually has 3 points, a goal and 2 assists, and Capo Caco has 1 point through 7 games. So I don't know. I don't know if the trade was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Will Borgen, he's staying healthy, he's locking down, he's got 3 points. Just saying.
All right, all right. This isn't a Will Borgen pod. We're gonna stick on the Kraken. My kind of takeaways for this week is obviously feeling really good, being 2-0-1. Some standout moments to me. Love the old dudes club still continuing to show out. Jordan Eberle getting some goals. Jaden Schwartz getting 2 goals on Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Like just goosebumps, chills. I was stunned that I didn't make him my Sasquatch pick. I just didn't connect the dots on those, that would have just been like the universe's pick to make happen. So super glad that happened. If you're not familiar with his story, go and check that out. Chandler Stevenson had a pretty solid week. We did receive a tweet saying, "Hey, can we, show some love to Chandler Stevenson or give him his flowers, whatever you want to say?" I'm like, bro, we're the Stevie stands from day one. Maybe ironically for some, not so ironically for others, but BTWSEA is home of the Stevie stands. So put a little trademark on that. We'll make some t-shirts and ship them out. We have some things that we're going to talk about that didn't go so hot and is maybe a little worrisome, but I'm choosing to live in the now, live in the moment, that things are doing pretty great. 5 points out of a possible 6 is solid. It's going to be a big week for us coming up here with 4 games on the schedule for this week, but feeling pretty solid overall. All right, so let's get into our discussion topics, our deep dives around these games. As has become tradition, sadly, we need to open with our injury updates. Jared McCann is still out, but he is progressing. There was, I think it was yesterday, Ben Myers was sent back to Coachella Valley, so that seems to be a good sign that hopefully Jared McCann is on his way back. Lane Lambert said the other day that he's a maybe for the road trip here coming up, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens. Freddie Gaudreau returned to the lineup, which is awesome. He's been out for quite a while with an upper body injury. Joey Daccord is practicing once again, which we love to see, so he's on day to day. Hopefully we get him back right away. Capo Caco, this one stung. He came back in the Jets game and scored a goal, and it felt awesome. We thought all was right in the world and we were going to get back to normal. And then he ended up on the IR week to week with a lower body injury. So huge bummer there. And lastly, Matt Murray left the Sharks game after the first period with a lower body injury. Right after he got scored on, he kind of got up and was a little tender and took a hobble down the tunnel. We just, continue not being able to catch a break. We're in injury season right now, and yeah, it's a real mixed bag of people coming back and going out. It's a revolving door. There, we'll use that metaphor. What's our current state of things given all of these injuries?
I'd really like to see Canner come back. Like we're talking about offensive firepower, and he's literally your 1A. Pretty much every season. He is your franchise leading goal scorer. Desperately need him back. Hopefully the injury, it's sorted itself out and he's healthy for the rest of the season. Freddie Gaudreau, that's another guy that, definitely is, important down the lineup. Joey is another one, but like Joey, you have those three goaltenders, and if they're all playing well, then hey, got no complaints there. So if an extra goaltender, especially in Joey, if he's doing good, awesome sauce. Kako, what an absolute blow, man. Like coming back from an injury after like literally shattering his arm in like a billion, billion pieces, and then, just skating off into the void. Nobody knows what happened. He's just like, oh yeah, he's just not going to return to this game. So you're like, okay, great. So hopefully, it's not too bad of an injury. He comes back in a couple weeks and he's full health. Matt Murray, hopefully he's good, because I don't know about you guys. Like, hopefully at this point, Joey's back. So then we at least have a 1-2, because like, I don't really want us to call up Coco or Osman out of Coachella, but if we have to, we'll figure it out. So, we've been blessed with, very fortunate seasons in the past with health when it comes to our players. This season, the hockey gods just said, no, you guys are going to deal with it. And, yeah, we've suffered, but like at the same time, we've, maintained a healthy record. So hopefully, hockey gods give us a little bit more grace, and then, we can skate out the rest of the season in the positives.
Yeah, I think you said it pretty well. Definitely need McCann back. That's number one. Also, yeah, it really sucks. Matt Murray's been playing as our best goaltender. He's been putting up better numbers by a decent amount than Joey was. I know it's in a limited role and it's in less games played, but still, he has the hot hand right now, and so that sucks that he got hurt. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really see good things happening if Decord and Murray are both out for a decent amount of time. You either have someone who has almost no NHL experience in net, or you're running Philip Grubauer like every day when he hasn't really had starter time in what, like 2 years now. So yeah, probably not good. So I think the goalie thing is super important to nail down. And then after that, like for sure, got to get McCann back in. Capo's gonna get involved too, but I mean, we've been making do without McCann and Kako, so like we need McCann back at the very least, yeah.
Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NHL right to your fingertips. From player props to the thrill of live in-game betting, every drop of the puck is your shot to win big. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. Light the lamp all season long with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. Speaking of the goalies, I called them goalie auditions last week because with Joey out, our two backups had to, hit the stage and see if they earned their number 2 spot. In the game against Columbus, Matt Murray was the goalie in that one. He had 33 of 34 saves with a 957 save percentage. Grew played against Winnipeg. He had 23 out of 26 saves at an 865 save percentage. And then, like we just mentioned, Matt Murray went down in the first period after giving up that goal against San Jose. Grew came in, and he had a perfect 100% in the 2 periods that he played, with a 1.93 goals saved above expected. As Derek planted into our notes there, we know that he loves those goals saved above expected stats. So, do we think out of this week, again, let's just in this statement assume that Matt Murray is healthy. Do we have still a coin toss of who the number two is, or do you feel locked in on one of these two guys?
Hell no. Hell no, we do not have a coin toss. You have to absolutely be locked in on Matt Murray. So it's getting pretty crazy. So when you look at the expected goals against average compared to their actual goals against average, Matt Murray has a whopping 1.23 better goals against average than is expected. So I believe he has a 2.21 goals against average. I think that's tied with Grubauer. So it's 2.21. So add 1.23 to that. That's a 3.54 is his expected goals against average. His actual goals against average is 1.23 less goals per game. Like, that's insane, especially when you compare it to Philip Grubauer's, which is 0.06 better than expected. And they have the same goals against average. So Murray's facing a lot more expected goals. Joey Decords, for context, anyone want to guess what his difference between goals against average and expected goals against average is?
I know it's not good this year, but I also think he's been battling injury all season, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I can't quantify numbers. My brain doesn't work in
Okay,
those ways yours does.
it's negative 0.13, so it's roughly around where Gru is, but it's in the negatives. So just that for context, Murray is absolutely insane. All of the goalies, though, have been serviceable this season. One thing I want to point out is that Grubauer, as we talked before the show, is standing at a .903 save percentage on the season, whereas Joey's at a 900. Matt Murray, he's at a whopping 922. Okay, it's not close. Matt Murray is third in the league in goals saved above expected per 60 with a minimum of 5 games played. His save percentage is sixth in the NHL. Grubauer's is 21st in the NHL, and Decords is 29th in the NHL. So we have 3 goalies in the top 32 goalies for save percentage. At this point, just play whoever's healthiest. It doesn't matter. All of them are starting quality right now. It's insane.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Derek said. I don't really need to say much else. Like, we can highlight the fact that Philip Grubauer has a 3-0-1 record and he has a save percentage of 900. We haven't seen this from Philip Grubauer ever with the Seattle Kraken when you look at the numbers. Yes, he had an incredible playoff run, so you could consider that, but like regular season, yeah, it's a small sample size. He's been great. However, if you had to choose, like if you're Jason Botterill and you had to make a decision in this, like it had to make a decision, and it was like I have to send down a goaltender. Joey is my one. Like there's no denying that. But I have to decide between Murray and Grubauer. I'm taking Murray. And there's a couple components to that. Yeah, you can say the save percentage, goals above expected. Those are definitely things that you're going to consider. The second is waivers. Why would you send down a hot hand at a reasonable salary? If you send him down, he's probably going to get claimed. Grubauer, you can send him down. There's not going to be any team that's going to be going mine. So, in the unfortunate situation, regardless on how Grubauer is playing, he's probably going to be the odd man out, strictly speaking, because of the likelihood of being claimed off waivers. So, but as I say, and as Derek has said, and I'm just going to echo him, keep all 3 of them at this point. It's kind of worked 25% of the way through the season. Like, just ride the hot hand. And if you're going to be dealing with an injury here, there, or anywhere, why not? Like, clearly put, we're kind of just playing this, we haven't decided yet. And if it takes all the way up until like March to decide, then so be it. Like, if we keep
I'm
winning
sorry,
games,
what other player do we need to make space for?
no, nothing. That's the thing. Like, unless we make a trade, but then you'd think it's going to be a hockey trade.
Well, I'm just going to say, the Kraken organization and Climate Pledge Arena prides itself on being so eco-friendly that we want to just continue doing that by not sending someone back and forth on a plane over and over again. That would just be horrible for this organization's mission statement. But I just want to jump on saying what Alex had said with Philip Grubauer 3-0-1 at a over 900 save percentage. We need to like put up a billboard for this guy. This is something that needs to be celebrated. Just it's wild. Hopefully it's sustainable and keeps going and he's starting to find a groove here. But all three goalies being 900 or higher. That's pretty sweet. So I agree. Ride with who's hot. Hopefully Matt Murray continues doing well. He's 0-2 and 1, which is a horrible record on paper, but he's doing awesome and showing out. So fingers crossed that $1 million investment in the free agency this season continues to pay off and it turns out to be a really good check that J-Bot's cut. The next thing I wanted to talk about was our feisty little fourth line. There was lots of praise on the broadcast this week, which, again, because we don't always get KHN, I'll say appeared on both sets of broadcasts, KHN and whatever happened to be showing up here at the time. Lots of praise for the fourth line, that line being Ben Myers, Ty Cartier, and Ryan Winterton. They were just real standouts over these last games, contributing to goals and assists throughout the course of the week. Personally, I love seeing the hustle out of these guys. They seem to just always be turning it up to 11 and busting their asses to get in there. And it is kind of a little unfortunate to see that Myers is heading back down to Coachella Valley because he seemed to be doing really good. But as we mentioned before, I'm going to take that with the hopes that that move in turn means that Jared McCann will be Jared McCann will be back right away, which is by all means a huge upgrade there. Do we have any thoughts on these scrappy little guys? Ryan Winterton, he is the one that I really want to highlight, goals and assists this week. So any highlights on the scrappy fourth line guys?
Yeah, I think Ryan Winterton's really found his place with the Kraken, especially under Lane Lambert's like his system. Because I think a lot of us were thinking, oh, he could play third line minutes, and he didn't really have anything there. But you put him on a line with Cartier and Myers, and they just seem to click, which is quite a concern in my opinion, just for Newman, because Newman's kind of in this weird position where you don't really know where to slot him right now. But if you have a fourth line that's clicking, then let them play. Like that's the way, like you want that fourth line just to be a pain in the ass that just shuts down. And that's what that fourth line's been doing. So I've absolutely loved it. Unfortunate that Myers is being sent down to bring back Canner, which just further complicates the situation because you go, okay, who's going on the fourth line? Because if you lose Myers, like who goes to your fourth line? Is it, Catton? Is it Wright? Like, you start to wonder on who's going to be your fourth line C there. So, but honestly, like Ben Myers really had a good showing while he was with the team. I was quite impressed with what he was doing, especially, for a guy that has, been up and down between the two leagues over the last couple of years. So, he definitely could solidify himself as a fourth line player on this team, and I wouldn't have any issue with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this is exactly what we were seeing in the 2022-2023 season when we went to the playoffs. It was the feisty fourth line of Donato Geeky Sprong that was contributing so much and to so much scoring. It's where we developed that identity of the whole attacking and waves thing and being a deep team. And I think it's super valuable and it does lead to playoff runs in hockey. I think we're seeing yet again, hopefully, that this national media talking point of needing some super hyped up guy making 15 mil is not the end all be all to a season. I am looking at you, Dom. Myers specifically has been shocking everyone, probably including himself lately. Really goes to show the sleeping giants that are in some of these I'd say lower tier players. They just show flashes of that insane skill level and potential that landed them in the NHL in the first place sometimes. And it's amazing to see. I love it every single time I see it. It's really just the consistency of how often you let out that beast. I think that separates the really, really good players in the lower tier, AHL guys. But yeah, super here for it with this fourth line.
One tweet that really caught my attention on it was from Geo, who goes by at Aquadime22, had a picture of the stats and filtered it out to Ty Cartier, and the guy had 3 block shots in 13 seconds. So Rob Cutmore replied to it saying, I got bruises just reading this. So he's out there taking his lumps, doing his job in that fourth line. They are absolutely grinding things out when they're out there on the penalty kill. And yeah, I love to see it. It's like Alex said, going to be really interesting to see how things shake out in the next little bit with guys coming back in. But I mean, inevitably with how the season's going, guys are also always going back out the other way. So We'll see. It's definitely one of those good seasons to have such
One
a
of the
deep
other
team.
One of the other things I just want to bring up is Ty Karche. Like a lot of us talked about him this offseason, not thinking he was going to have a contract, let alone make it to the NHL this season. So the fact that he's really solidified himself as like an important piece to this team is great. Like I actually do love it. So like between all three of them, that's a fourth line that I can get behind any day.
I think Derek wanted to sell him off for a bag of potato chips, if I
It
remember
was like
correctly.
used pucks or
I think
something
I
like that.
kind of still do.
Kind of still do. All right. Well, we'll see how things shake out. One more thing to talk about from this week is we had a couple milestones that were hit over the course of the week. The Seattle Kraken have now reached 150 wins as a franchise. This makes the Kraken the third fastest expansion franchise to reach this mark since 1967 at 345 games, falling behind the Vegas Golden Knights at 259 and the Edmonton Oilers at 317. We also had another 150 milestone happen this week with Vince Dunn becoming the first player in franchise history to reach 150 assists. So get your party blowers out. These are some pretty big things. Do you have any thoughts, takeaways on these milestones?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say for context, that whole like third fastest expansion franchise, that there have been 20 teams added since 1967, so we're third out of 20 teams. Like the graphic I saw or whatever only had like four or five, so I just wanted to add that in.
I also just like to point out that 1967 was the last time the Leafs won the Stanley Cup, and they're actually dog you know what this year, so it just makes me happy. Secondly, out of those 20 teams, Atlanta's had two of those teams, so that's another funny stat. But yeah, no, Kraken are doing great. The fact that they were able to do 150 wins, in that time frame, I can't complain. Considering that we've like suffered the last 2 years of Kraken hockey, like the fact that we've been able to do that, so that's promising in its own way. And then Vince Dunn, 150 assists for the franchise. Definitely one of our best players, if not, I would say best defenseman, possibly with the debate with Montour because he's just such a good guy as well. So yeah, I know some great milestones this week. So hopefully we'll see more this season.
At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
Okay. And then our last little talking point related to the Kraken that I wanted to get to here. We are like 23-ish% done the season, so I'm calling it quarter one is in the books. And I wanted to do a little mini performance review with you guys, something I'm affectionately calling studs and duds. So one guy that you're feeling super good about, that you want to shout out, that you want to praise, and one guy that has just been a dud, you want to see more out of, you're not super impressed with. Uh, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do all the good things first and then bad things after?
Yeah, we can
Okay,
go around. We can go around and do good first.
go around the horn. Okay, my stud that I want to celebrate, and I did this a bit last week, is Jordan Eberle. Because dude had his pelvis shattered into smithereens last year, missed what, like 40 games, something like that. It was a huge chunk of the season. And he is back now, tied for the most goals with Jaden Schwartz, second on the team in points with 13, which I know you compare this to other teams and it's like, oh, Connor McDavid's had like 35 assists this season, like just on his own. And our numbers are just like pennies compared to the mountains of money that equivalent that you want to maybe think of those at. But for what it is, Jordan Eberle at 35 years old, still doing things for this team. As the captain, I think putting a big point into the identity of the team and showing that grit and hustle out there. Just said it earlier, old man's club still popping off. Jaden Schwartz, honorable mention in there. I am digging Captain Ebbs so far this season.
Yeah, Eberle and Schwartz definitely have to be, in the mix Your guys on top for points. I'm actually surprisingly gonna go away from the old and toward the young here with Matty Beniers. I think he has been the biggest, uh, like in terms of expectations, history, all the context. I think he's been one of the biggest studs this year. Um, he has, 2 goals and 10 assists. So he's just a huge part of our most lethal offensive line. And what he also does for that line is keep it viable defensively because your top lines are often facing off against other teams' top lines. When you play all these star-studded teams, and having Matty Beniers, you're not only going out there and he's making unreal passes. He's had some nice goals this year, but he's also like there to be a responsible person that will get back, will hold to Lane Lambert's defensive structure and stuff like that. There's so much that isn't on the stat sheet that Matty Beniers does. And from game one this year, I've noticed just looks different. Like he's just so involved like everywhere, and I love it. And it's going to be huge going forward as this team, I hope, like adds more offensive firepower just to see Matty Beniers like as like a huge part of that going forward will be awesome.
So both of you guys chose a forward. I'm going to go defensively here. It's going to be Brandon Montour. The guy has only played 14 games this season because he did take that leave of absence. Um, he still has 3 goals, 6 assists, and he is a pivotal player to this team. He is such an important piece to the locker room, and what he does on the ice is just another added component. He's just another player and another defensive player that we desperately needed, who can be reliable both on the offense and on the defensive side of the puck. And I think with only 9 points this season, I don't even think that this is like the we haven't even seen like his true ceiling that we're going to witness this season. Like I definitely think we're going to see like 50 to 60 points this season from Montour. It's just I just have this feeling about him, and I just really am looking forward to seeing what he does as we progress through the season.
All right, we're gonna swing it to the other side now and talk about some duds, guys that we are not psyched on, guys we need to step it up, guys that maybe grind our gears a little bit. And my dud, I'm sticking with defense too, is Ryan Lindgren. This guy just so far he like I was pretty pumped on him to start. I thought like, hey, he's meshing well with Monty. He seems to be getting into the system well. And then just like the last few weeks especially, he is making me want to like put my head through my computer when I'm live tweeting the games out. He has played in 18 games, has 31 penalty minutes. I think it's going to be a little inflated because he had one game where 17 minutes was given to him because there was like a fight and a misconduct and a whole bunch of stuff. But I feel when I'm watching the game and I see Ryan Lindgren going to the penalty box, I can already start drafting up the tweet saying X team has increased their lead by 1 against the Kraken thanks to Ryan Lindgren. Like I want him to go get some popcorn time in the press box and get Josh Mahura down there for a little bit to get some time back on the ice. But yeah, Lindgren is just he's not doing it for me right now.
I wanna preface this by saying it's kind of hard for me to do this when the team is doing so good, just because it's like it feels like everything's kind of clicking, like how it feels when you're winning. But I'm gonna maintain with my bag of chips guy, and I'm going with Ty Cartier. He has been popping lately with the fourth line, but on the year, he's got 3 points in 18 games. If you go to look at his expected goals against per 60, bottom of the team. If you go to look at his expected goals for, or like while he's on the ice, bottom of the team. So if it was a team of Cartiers, I think you would lose every game like 3.5 to 1.5. I know you can't get a half goal, but just based on the expected. So yeah, I'm gonna say that I don't. I think we should just get a little more. I'm not saying that it's not bag of chips anymore, and it's not like this is not
Not a
like
chocolate bar with those chips.
exactly. And we roll lines. So like we will also roll our fourth line against anyone. Like so we don't have the same line structure as other teams. So he is probably going against people he shouldn't be sometimes. But yeah, like in terms of just wanting to see more, I'm wanting to see more, especially with the way Cartier debuted into the league. Like we gotta see that back because that would be freaking awesome. Okay, if we had that Cartier back right now, I would be like, dude, it would be like the Alex thing. This team is never gonna lose again, or this team will never lose again in regulation or whatever.
So mine's going to be controversial. There's going to be a lot of angry people. Heather is going to be one of those people. So my dud this season, and it hurts me to even say this and to even admit it. I'm going to go with Shane Wright. You know, we talked about this being Shane Wright's prove it season. And he has 4 goals and 4 assists. We are crying out for offensive power. We know Shane Wright can do that, and he has just straight up disappeared. We can't find him. He gets a goal every so often, but like I've watched these games and I have not noticed him. And we're talking about these young core players, Shane Wright being one of them, and I need to see something from him much more than what we are seeing. You know, I was critical about Matty Beniers last season, and you know, yes, he's much more of a defensive player, but he puts up the assist. Shane Wright, we know he can score. I got to see more because, you know, 4 goals ain't cutting it for me. There's 18 games. He's played all 18. You know, if he wants to, you know, get those, you know, top 6, you know, those top 6 minutes, then he's got to prove it. And right now, it's not happening. So, you know, if you want to be that 2C or that 1C, you know, take up the mantle, put your big boy pants on and start, you know, start roofing them. Because if not, you know, that third line center role is going to be yours. And right now, it's not even his because Berkeley Catton has taken over that 3C role and you're a winger. So figure it out.
I mean, I'll say that Shane Wright is kind of still plagued by a lack of minutes, so that could affect the volume of his stats. Like, if you look at goals per 60 minutes of play, Shane Wright's 5th on the team.
Yeah.
If you look at assists per 60 minutes, Shane Wright is 12th on the team, so not very good. But yeah, his goals per 60 is pretty high. So we could probably play him a little bit more and get some more goals out of him, I would say.
The thing is, though, that I'll just
we're
say
also
that
early in the season, and you know, goals in hockey they're pretty like rare, like compared to like scoring in basketball, right? So like a lot of the times when you have really good chances and you miss like a little bit, it's the difference between like having 4 goals or 5 goals, and like it could be a huge difference. So we're early on. I don't think it's time to start hitting the dud siren on Shane Wright. I'm just saying.
you know what though? Like, and I know I'm being hypocritical because I'm saying play the man more, but like last season he got 18 goals or 19 goals with limited minutes. So like we're just kind of what I'm looking for is like, you know, you can score, just do it at the same rate that you were doing last year, or like prove that you can get more minutes. Because like if you can get more minutes, then we have another bona fide offensive player. But like right now, like 4 goals and 4 assists in 18 games just isn't it.
To be fair also to Wright, this team is just not generating scoring chances in mass on any line. They're also just not scoring goals in general, so it's hard to pick up points. And then also the pride of this year is defensive structure, and Shane Wright is like 2nd or 3rd in terms of expected goals against when he's on the ice. So Shane Wright might be like Lane Lambert's favorite player right now. He might be like
100%.
Shane Wright might be the best defensive player forward that we have, honestly.
Agreed. Okay, but offensively, I want more. I want more. Damn it! I love that both of you guys threw your duds out, and we're like, yeah, no, I totally agree with it.
You-
I throw Shane Wright's name, and man, I got crucified.
Hell
For
yes,
sure.
you're gonna get yes.
Derek and I almost fell out of our chairs.
I know. I saw both of you, and I'm like thinking right now, Heather's gonna kill me. So
Yeah, you knew what you were doing. You wanted this.
Yeah.
no, I didn't. It was like no, like I wanted to definitely have that one name that people were like, oh, yeah, but like that's honestly, I just see that. I just want more from him.
All right. Well, we'll review this again at end of Q2 in about 20 some more games, and hopefully we have some step ups out of those guys. Before we move out of this talks, it is time for a recurring segment this week of Shovel Stories with Derek. I wrote a jingle. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, well, no, now you don't get to because you don't sound
No,
very excited about it.
no. I wasn't sure if you had something already made or if you were gonna read it or what.
Oh, I got it right here. I don't have it memorized. I didn't practice that much. The ice is cold. His takes are hot. When Derek's got a shovel, he talks a lot. From assists to goals and locker room lore, it's shovel stories. Let's hear some more.
Oh my God, that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so my story today actually kind of follows a narrative because I'm like, let's try something new and actually tell a story instead of just like throwing out random stuff. So it was the game against the Blue Jackets. Okay. We had the best media meal ever. It was like egg rolls and pork and rice, and it just hit the spot. I grabbed two funfetti cookies. I got some ice cream. Like it was great. Okay. I was about to have a night. And normally when you're in like the V and stuff, you got to do a lot of skating. So like you don't want to eat a ton because you're skating in like an hour and you get like a side ache or whatever, right? But I was number two that day, which means I just skate by the players up and back, and then I just kind of clear like the net close to the Zam tunnel. I don't have to skate really at all. It's actually I don't even get winded at all. It's you literally don't skate. So I was telling my crew, I'm like, oh guys, I'm gonna eat a ton of this tonight because I don't have to skate. It doesn't matter. I'm number two. Well, we didn't have number nine that night, which is also in that zone with me. So I had to patrol that whole zone by myself, but I didn't know that until after I was done eating. So out there, I was just darting back and forth. I was booking it full speed up and down in our first and third period offensive zone, just tight turning around Blue Jackets players while I had the tummy rumblies. And it all worked out. I got a good workout in, and the ice was kept clean because, the crew can adapt to anything. We keep it clean AF. But the irony was also not lost on me that I was number two that night. Let's just say that.
How hyped are you for Seattle Torrent Ice Crew on the horizon?
Yeah, no, that's going to be absolutely insane. I don't know a ton about it yet in terms of scheduling or who's doing what, but I hope that I get to work a decent amount of games. We got these super dope jackets that they ordered. So yeah, I guess I can't really show them off on the pod, but I can show them off on cam and we can post on social or something. But yeah, super excited about the torrent. Now that I'm actually pronouncing the name correctly too. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Sweet. Well, thanks for those stories. We won't get any stories out of Derek this week because we are on a 4 game road trip over the next series of days. Alex, what is the schedule for this next week?
So after confirming that we are actually on a road trip this week, the Kraken are heading out. We'll be playing 4 games away from Seattle. First, they will take flight and land in Detroit to face off against the Red Wings on Tuesday. Then they will fly to the Windy City and on Thursday play against the Chicago Blackhawks. They will get all pangu and get all excited on Saturday and face the Pittsburgh Penguins. That didn't work. And then Sunday, we're going to the Isle and we're facing the New York Islanders. So 4 away games. What are we thinking for a record for this?
Okay, so you might have heard that this is the best start in Kraken history. It's not true. We're actually tied for the best start. It's the same amount of points that we had at this point in the season as the 2022-2023 season. At this point in that season, we went on a 6 game win streak. We're currently at a 2 game win streak. So I say we win all 4 of these games and we hit the 6 game win streak actually a game before we did in 2022-2023 to actually have the best start to our season. So let's do that.
God, I hope so. That'd be awesome. I'm going to say, again, I got this correct last week. I'm going to say overtime loss to the Red Wings, win over Chicago, another overtime loss to the Penguins, and a straight out loss to the Islanders because that is the second game of a back to back, and we're on like a 14 back to back second game skid of losing those games. But by all means, break that curse. I'm all for it.
So I got win against the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, and the Penguins, and I think we lose to the Islanders. So I'm going 3-1.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Before we close things out here, we always do a quick little check-in on Coachella Valley. So, Alex, what is the current state of things down there?
I really miss the soundtrack or "Baka!" So like, down in the desert or whatever it was, desert dialogues. Yeah, the Coachella Valley Firebirds have moved up to sixth in the Pacific Division with a record of 7-5-2. Yager Furcus at the top of the leaderboard with 8 goals and 10 assists. It's also worth noting that there were 2 hat tricks this week from the Firebirds, from Yager Furcus and Jacob Melanson. The Birds have 2 games this week. Friday, they play against the San Diego Gulls, and then Sunday, they will face off against the Calgary Wranglers. Looking at players to possibly call up in situations like this, I think Yager Furcus is starting to make his name known in the AHL, especially amongst the Firebirds lineup. Don't know if he's there yet, but he's definitely making waves in the AHL, kind of like what we were seeing with Newman last season. So I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on. But I don't think he's ready for the NHL. But yeah, definitely watch those 2 games this week. The Firebirds are finally picking up steam, and hopefully that will turn into some winning ways, and they'll progress up their division.
All right, and that'll wrap things up for this week. Derek, as we close things out, as always, can you let folks know where they can find BTW online?
Yes, Matt, but first I'm going to shamelessly plug our store. Go buy the HK21 design that we have out. You can get it on a shirt, a sweatshirt, a sticker, etc. It's fire. We also have stuff for Shane Wright, Joey DeCord. Who else? We got Brandon Montour. It's been featured on official Kraken and Starbucks merchandise before, so go get some for yourself. Go get a sticker, slap it on your Xbox or something. And also go read Heather's articles. You can follow her over at Heather Nicole with no E. The link is in the show notes to see her work as well, or you can follow at the Hockey News W to see more of her work reporting for the Torrent. And keep your eyes on your podcast feed of your choice where you're listening to this right now to see when she drops more PWHL episodes. Please also drop a follow and a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice that you're listening to this on right now. And follow us on all socials. It helps out a whole ton if you could take a second to like or comment on those videos. And listen, we found out today, to Alex, Shane Wright is just okay, but go follow us over at BTWSEA.
That was good. That's a real written up in the moment one. I like that.
Hell yeah, dude. I wait till the last 10 minutes now. It's episode themed.
I love it. Great stuff.
No shame, Alex. I thought of okay, and then I was like, oh yeah, Shane Wright. Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep. Get ready for Twitter, because it's gonna happen.
God, it's gonna be a war zone.
Matt, tweet the clip. Tweet the clip, Matt.
No explanation. It'll just be like cut to say like Shane Wright is garbage player. Trade him.
Send off. And rocket ship.
Trade him.
All right, everybody. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next week.
Oh, we're talking to the.
Well, you didn't do your high pitched send off. So
And see you next week. Bye.
Going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls. Whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's chicken pot pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.